Yeah, I'll start. Okay. Hello. So today we're sitting out back on our back patio deck, whatever we call this thing, uh, and we got the solo stove going, and we are going to peel our loofahs. Loofah is a vegetable. It doesn't come out of the ocean. It comes out of your garden. And a few years ago, I think we first got some seeds through the Alabama Master Gardeners program, probably, and planted some and grew them. And what we've been doing is, uh, we'll peel them, cut them up about this size, and really most of the time just give them away for Christmas gifts and that kind of stuff. It's a sort of a novelty item, but it's a God sponge is really what it is, but it's a vegetable, not a sponge out of the ocean. And so today we're going to show you how we process those.
So whenever people see these growing on the vine, they're always like, what is that? Because you can see they're rather large. They're a member of the cucumber family. And so they hang, we have them, they run up on our cattle panels and they hang down and they just look really funny. And people always are interested in what they are growing. Um, so they're green. We have some that aren't quite dried. You can see that how green it is, and so you have to let that dry out before it looks like this. And in the summertime it's easy because you can just lay it out on the table and just let the sun and the heat do its work. But as it cools off and it gets colder, a good place, I like to dry these in our basement. We have a basement that's unfinished, and so it's warm down there, but it's not, it's not upstairs, and it can just dry out without me really worrying about it. That's where this one has to go next. Um, and then once it gets in its dried state, and if you'll just listen, it's really crackly. Then we get ready to get the seeds out of it. I like to cut the end off, and we will shake that out so that the seeds come out of the loofah. And when it's dried, it's easier to get the seeds out. Some people will talk about, just once it's kind of gotten dry, they'll go ahead and start peeling it. And I just don't like it's like gooey and slimy, and I just don't like that. So I like to let them completely dry. And what you have to deal with though when you let them completely dry is that they can get discolored on the inside. And so like you'll have to take like you'll this is a little darker than what you might like buy, because people sell these. You put it in like some cleaner and see if you can get it clean and the dark spots removed, but that really doesn't bother me too much. So the way that we get this off, or Jonathan saw a guy suggesting, and so we've been trying this, where you take and roll it on a table. And so I'm going to go and do that now.
Okay. She's going to roll that on the table. I'll talk a little bit about the loofah itself. What this is, you can imagine this piece. You go ahead and roll. It'll be fine. You imagine this piece being skeleton, and then the part that Rochelle's talking about, the fleshy piece that has dried out now, is the flesh, and that's the part that's really icky if you try to process them while they're green, and that's why we let them dry. I've got one here that I've already rolled. She just rolled that one, and the end's cut off, and we try to shake most of the seeds out into a bucket, and we keep the seeds, and we can give the seeds away or replant them. They just go into our seed storehouse that's in the freezer. We bag them up, label them, put them in there, and give some of them away when people want them. But and then you just peel the brown part off. Sometimes it'll come off in big chunks. Sometimes it gets a little stubborn, and it depends on how good a job you did rolling it to break the brown away from the skeleton. So I guess if you think in the human terms, this the loofah sponge itself is the skeleton. This brown stuff, which was green earlier, is the skin, and then you know, that fleshy part that has dried. And really, I don't know where it goes. I guess it just
Ooh.
disappears. It's a good idea to have a pair of scissors, and you can sort of cut them to help get the seeds out of the middle.
Yeah, and to make them a nice size. You know, it's just easier to deal with when they're smaller. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, and seeds will go everywhere. We try to collect the seeds so we have seeds to grow for next year. This one is not to cut as easily. Okay, I'm gonna go through the middle there and cut half of that. You can see the seeds inside. You can see where it's fibrous, it's just those fibers. We'll pick those seeds out. Kind of run your scissors kind of in there. You don't want to break the center up because that's what gives the sponge its structure. But these are really good to use also. Like I'm just thinking about how people will use these for, you know, for baths. They're good for exfoliation. But I like to use them in the kitchen as my kitchen sponge. And you can just throw them in the dishwasher and clean them up about once a week, and then they're, you know, they get soft when they get wet, and so they're not gonna like scratch things up when they're soft and wet.
All right, another thing we do with them is give them away. You know, it's just a sort of a nice gift and a story you can tell somebody about, you know, where they come from. You know, sometimes we think of things and see things in one way, but God designed things a different way. So thanks for joining. And this is what works for us mostly. All right.